Alrighty, hello everyone, it's Silver Kyle here, and today I'll be going over the PlayStation 4 launch games. So day one, when you pick up the PS4, you're going to be able to play these games right away on the PS4. This is not the full list, I would assume. This is just the post E3 list. We still have quite a few months before we actually get to the actual launch. We also don't even have a confirmed date at the moment. We're assuming sometime in November. And this at the moment is the confirmed day one games that are going to be available. There's also another list of launch window games, but I'm not going to go over those just yet. As we get closer to the PS4 launch, I will talk about the official full list and then the launch window games after that. But for right now, let's just talk about what's confirmed at the moment. And a lot of these are multi-platform. For the majority of it, it's multi-platform games. And that's not really something that you would want to sell your system. Like, oh, here's the PS4, here's the Xbox One, and we're gonna have a bunch of multi-platform games. It's good to have them, but you need exclusives, because why would I pick up Assassin's Creed 4 on the PS4 if I can also pick it up for the PS3? Yeah, it'll be a little bit nicer and might run a bit smoother on the PS4, but also might not run as smooth. It might be a graphic upgrade, but we don't know how multi-platform games are gonna work on the next generation consoles yet. So, I don't know. When you have exclusive games though, it's like I can only have this experience on the PS4 or the Xbox One. I think it's not the official list, so they might add in a few more exclusives, but right now I think there's only four big releases anyway. Anyway, let's get on with the list. Starts off with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Multi-platform game, going to be available on PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, Wii U, just basically everything. And it's good because the good thing about this is that Assassin's Creed 4, excuse me, will be released around the same time that the system is launched. So that's good. Like the Wii U, for example, that had a weird launch because it had a bunch of multi-platform games, but some of them were like a year old, like Batman Arkham Asylum, for example. That was a year-old game by the time that it came out to the Wii U. And it's kind of different with the Wii U because Nintendo just really wanted to show that they were getting multi-platform games, right? They were getting more than the Wii did. But with the PS4, all these games are relative, like all the multi-platform games are coming out around that time. It's like all fall season releases and around the month of November, so it works for them. Next up is Battlefield 4. Once again, it's like late October that's being released, so that works as well. Call of Duty Ghosts. Also, that's being released in November, so that works perfectly. I find that Call of Duty, love or hate it, it sells ridiculous, and it mostly does better for the Xbox system. But it's just nice that it's there, and I like the fact that Call of Duty is released in November because it helps system launches. It really does. And like I'm considering getting the PS4 over the Xbox One for my first system that I get this year. And if I did pick up the PS4, I would probably get either Battlefield 4 or Call of Duty Ghosts. But I'll get into that more when the system gets close to launch, because then I'll pick out the actual games that I want. Anyway, because I do want an FPS game, and I do prefer FPS games on the PS3 over the Xbox 360, which is odd because I like the controller more for the Xbox 360, but FPS games just work a lot better with the controller of the PS3 for some odd reason. I don't know. Anyway, next up is DC Universe Online. Now that game is not going to be out on the Xbox One, which is a positive because, and it's weird because Sony also has Diablo 3 coming to the PS4, and that's not going to Xbox One. At least I don't believe it is. I know that it's also being released on the PS3, and it's being released in, unfortunately, September. For whatever reason, I do not know why they would release Diablo 3 for the PS3 in September, and then when the PlayStation 4 launches, then they're also going to have Diablo 3. It's like, if you're going for a PS4, most chances are you already have the PS3, and you could just pick up Diablo 3 then, like a few months before the PS4. It really doesn't make sense. I understand Blizzard wanting to release Diablo 3 for the PS3 because they're going to make a lot more money that way. However, Sony should have been like, okay, if we're going to launch it on both systems, can we launch it on the same day? So launch day of the PS4, Diablo 3 is released for the PS3 and PS4. Blizzard might have had something to do with that and said, you're not going to sell as many PS3 Diablo 3s if you do that, and we really want to make a lot of money here and get a good bang for our buck. So we're going to release it 2 months prior when there's not really a lot of big games coming out. There's no systems. I don't know. I understand if that was the case and Blizzard just really pushed it that way, it makes sense. And when's it coming out? Oh, okay, so Xbox 360. It is being released on the Xbox 360 as well. but nothing for Xbox One. So if you want to play Diablo 3 on the next generation of consoles, you have to get on PS4. At least that's an exclusive. That's kind of cool. I still probably wouldn't be picking it. I don't know. If I ever see it for cheap, like I still haven't beaten my PC version of it. It's just Diablo 3 just wasn't the same as Diablo 2. Anyway, next up is Drive Club. Now this is an exclusive game, and if you're into racing games, it looks like amazing. It's so detailed. It's the most, like, Forza 5 in my opinion looked really good. I'm not really a racer, but when I saw Drive Club and Forza 5, they both just look so freaking nice. When you really want to sell the graphics, I find, of next generation games, it's good to do it when you're watching something like a racing game, because you just see how clear it's going to be and how much detail is going to be in there. When you put something on like Call of Duty on multi-platform, there's not a huge difference. I know that they showed in Call of Duty Ghosts, and they were showing all the detail that was going to be the big upgrade, and I was like, there's a bit more detail, but it's not the detail that I like. It's not, I don't know, it didn't really do anything for me. But these racing games, I'm like, whoa, that's a nicer upgrade from the PS3 and Xbox 360. And I'm kind of considering getting Drive Club, even though I'm not a big racing fan. It looks kind of nice, so I'm thinking about that. Plus it is an exclusive, it's only for the PS4. That's a big selling point for me. I like exclusives, and I think a lot of people like exclusives as well. It makes you feel not superior, it just makes you feel like you're playing the game that only certain people can play because you have the system. And I don't want to say you're superior or you're elitist or anything like that. It's just, it's a different feeling. It's like when you get a launch game or a launch system day one. It's like, wow, this is like, not a lot of people are experiencing this right away. It's a different feeling. I would like for everyone to be able to experience every game possible, every system possible, but it's still different when you're the first one receiving it, or one of the first ones, or feeling something on day one. It's just a different feeling. Next up is FIFA 14. Yeah, sports. Just Dance 2014. I did not know that was coming out for the PS4. Okay, interesting. Killzone Shadowfall. Now here is an exclusive that I think is probably what they're hoping is going to be the system seller, because out of all of them, this is like, at least there's 3 Killzones beforehand, but Killzone really isn't Sony's biggest flagship game. If they would have had like a Little Big Planet, an Uncharted game, God of War, what else? What are their big sellers, heavy hitters? I just don't feel that Killzone will be enough, you know? I'm excited for it. I've never even played a Killzone game. I'm actually wanting to play like the entire trilogy before I get this, to see if I would really enjoy Killzone. But from what I've seen, it looks really fun, and it's a first-person shooter, which is good. I don't know if it's going to do really well for the PS4, and I think that they should have chosen other, exclusive series that they have instead as the forefront for the PS4. Especially the PS4. You could have done so many things with that, like Uncharted 4, God of War 4. There's just so many, series. And that's another thing too. Killzone Shadowfall is the 4th entry in the series for the consoles, and they didn't say Killzone 4, and it's being released for the PS4 exclusively. Marketing, Sony, get with the program. Next up is Knack, and here's a game that at the beginning I was like, yeah, but now I've seen a lot more trailers for it, and I like it because it's not super gritty, it's not super real, it's fun and out there, and it's something that I could see, Nintendo having, Nintendo would have came up with something like this. And it's just a wacky kind of game where you're this giant, I don't know, robot or something like that, and you just keep getting bigger and bigger, and it looks so, is it a robot or is it a monster? I don't remember, because he does a bunch of different stuff, and he just keeps getting bigger, and he changes his size, and it looks so fun and different. It's not a first-person shooter, which is nice. You have to have first-person shooters, but you also have to have adventure games and different kinds of games. You have to have the different genres, and they're doing it. They have Drive Club, they have for racing, Killzone for first-person shooters, and Knack for more of a platforming 3D game. And it looks really good. It looks interesting. So that is probably going to, if I pick up the PS4, that's probably going to be one of my day one buys for the system. Next up is Lego Marvel Superheroes. I didn't think that, like, Xbox One is also doing this, and they're going with this game, and it's being released on all the platforms, but It's weird that that made the list when other games didn't. I guess it's being released around that time, and I'm guessing that they're hoping that, you know, the Avengers kind of brings. They should have called it maybe Lego Marvel Avengers or something like that to cash in a little bit on that key name, considering Avengers was the third highest grossing film of all time with 1.5 billion. That's a good, and it was released in 2012, so it's only a year later. They should have called it Lego Avengers, Marvel Avengers if you want. Marvel superheroes doesn't have as much of a key name value. But anyway, that's being released on that system. Then Madden NFL 25. Once again, if you're into sports, I'm not knocking sports games because I mean they sell like crazy, and it's good. You have to have your sports games too for your launch systems. You do. You absolutely have to. But I'm just not excited for them. NBA 2K14. Once again, NBA Live 14. That's odd that they're having 2 basketball games at launch. I don't know, because they're going to be competing against each other. But then you kind of have the people that, you know, follow the 2K series or the Live. I've never heard of the Live games before. But anyway, that's there. I assumed before it was just like 2013, 2012, and they're just going with the Live 14 now. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't play a lot of sports games. Then they have Skylanders Swap Force. I'm not sure how well the Skylanders series is doing, but it's there. And it's available. Next up is the last exclusive that I know of, and this is not really an exclusive. It's exclusive to consoles for the PS4, and that's Warframe. But it was also released on PC, Microsoft Windows, like a year ago. And that's, I don't know. PC usually goes with Xbox. Microsoft just owns the monopoly on that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, PS4 got it. It looks like a different kind of game. It's kind of like a mix of an adventure hack and slash, but first person. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a futuristic, what am I trying to compare it to? It just, it's wacky. That's not a good descriptive. Compared to a game, think of like, just nothing's coming to my mind. Like a futuristic Assassin's Creed. I know that's ridiculous, but it's like more than that. It's just the type of game where it's not a first person shooter, but it's not really a hack and slash, and it's just, what am I trying to say here? Look at your games. I don't know. I don't know. But it's kind of like there's like 4 or 5 of these beings who are like super powerful, and it's in the future, and they're like aliens, and like there's these 4 or 5 beings that are really, really powerful, and they all have these different weapons. And I don't remember even the trailer, but like some of them like are really fast, and they can slash you a lot faster, and others like have different magic powers. But it's like futuristic magic. I don't know what is going on with that game. I saw it and I was like, nah, not really for me. But it could be really interesting for other people. And last but not least is Watch Dogs. And that's a game that I think I'm going to pick up for whatever my next generation console. I'm leaning more towards the PS4 at the moment. When I do pick up a new system, I think I'm gonna get Watch Dogs along with it, just because I really want to see one of the multi-platform games, and Watch Dogs has really caught my attention, and it looks like a really different experience, and I can't wait to try it out, and also to try it out on a next generation console and see if there's a really big difference in the graphic spike. And there's just not a lot of exclusives, so I think I'm going to go the route of getting Watch Dogs plus maybe 1 or 2 exclusives as well with the system. And I'm leaning more so towards the PS4. So that's my thoughts on the day 1 PS4 games at the moment that have been confirmed. There's a boat passing by, so if you heard like, that was that. I was almost done the video and they come by now. I will be doing one for Xbox One relatively soon, and I'll share my thoughts on that. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the PS4 launch games at the moment. What are you most excited for? Which games are you considering buying? And you've been bearded in. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Beard Edge!